Testing, testing, good. We got volume? Oh, we will in a moment. Alright, I'm trying to remember everything in this fight. Hey everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here with another multiplayer battle. This time I was fighting one of my favorite YouTubers to just hang around with and play stupid games, and that's Janet on occasion. And we decided to take a pretty unconventional series of lists for this battle, once again showing off some new things about the DLC, not including the new lighting, which makes a lot of the maps just absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I suspect it's going to get even better in the final release because, of course, the media build still has a few little small things to be worked out. But for anyone... So I'm taking Greenskins this time because I wanted to... sorry, not Dov. Let's just... Wait. Okay. Ryan, when you hear this, now you're going to start over. Hey everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here with another multiplayer battle from the Queen and the Crone DLC, this time featuring the Allarielle's faction, Avalorn, and some of their cool little tricks they're going to be able to do. And I decided to take the Greenskins, because me and Janet on occasion, who of course is one of my favorite YouTubers to just shoot the shit with, were having just kind of a fun time, and he took this kind of silly, goofy list that was very tree spirit heavy, and sort of wanted to fight something a little bit unorthodox to see if he could survive it. So I brought WAAAGH the Slaughterer, who has a couple of new tricks up his sleeve, as do all the new Greenskin Lords, because they have the new WAAAGH ability, which instead of being a small area of effect typical general ability that quite frankly was pretty terrible, it now is an ability that all the Greenskin Lords have, not just the old ones like the Goblin Great Shaman, and Skarsnik, and all of them have WAAAGH now as well. It gives it's map wide, which is huge, and it gives 24% speed, 18% charge bonus, and 26 melee attack. It's a significant buff on a fairly short cooldown of 90 seconds. It makes the Greenskins a very, very formidable opponent so long as you remember to use it in the right circumstance. For my army, it's a little bit goofy. I have 2 Black Orcs, 1 unit of Orc Boys in the center. I have the Warlords Boys and the AP Gloonies on either flank, 2 Goblins in the front to try and absorb some missile damage, 2 Night Goblin Archers, 1 is the Rusty Errors, WAAAGH, whose only spell is Soul Blight. Then I have a Doom Diver Catapult, a Orc Shaman on a Piggy, who has Foot of Gork and Fist of Gork, and then I've got a Goblin Big Boss on a Spider. Then I've got the Moon Howlers, the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, Death Creepers, and a regular unit of Forest Goblin Spider Riders hiding over here. And Avalorn is being defended today by Allarielle, who's got her Tree Spirit units, which if you haven't seen them have a gorgeous cherry blossom color scheme of just pink and teal, and it's really, really cool looking. But she's got Dryads, she's got a regular Tree Man, which they can't take Tree Man Ancients, but you'll notice that the Avalorn Tree Man is actually, he's kind of a hybrid of the Tree Man and the Ancient Tree Man skin, which is really cool looking. It makes him, you know, on top of just the absolute popping colors, gives him a really unique and fun feel. And then, of course, you couldn't fight a all Tree Spirit army unless you were running Treekin, which he's got these creepy warped fellows helping him out on the battlefield. And then for and this is the regular Avalorn color scheme, these greens and reds, which looks very, very cool. So he's got 3 units, or no, is it 3? No, 4 units of Dryads, 2 units of Spearmen. He's got 1 of the new regiments of renown, the Keepers of the Flame, which are these incredibly well colored Phoenix Guard, who not only have magical attacks, which makes them very, very fierce. They also have the Mark of Assurin, which makes it so that whenever one of these guys dies, they explode into a ball of flame and will kill people around them. So they're kind of like Slayers in that sense, which is very cool. And then, of course, he's got one of the new units, the Sisters of Avalorn, and the Regiment of Renown version, no less, which is the Everqueen's Court Guards, which the most significant difference between the two is that these ones have the Banner of Avalorn, which gives him improved power recharge rate. So if you ever see a high elf player and they're running Allarielle or Teclis, these girls are probably going to be a must-have. Not only are they an incredibly powerful unit, both in melee with these huge stats, and at range with their incredible armor-piercing, flaming, magical missile damage, but they also improve your Winds of Magic. Then he's got Allarielle the Radiant here up on her steed, and he's got quite a few spells. She has a very nice mix of high life and light magic, and she also has all of the traits, which is pretty nasty. On top of that, she has the boon of Aisha, which gives everyone within 40 meters immune to psychology and magic damage, which is horrifying against Greenskins. That bonus magic damage means that the new high elves, if they have Allarielle, will cut through savage orcs like butter. Then she has her unique item. She has the Staff of Avalorn, which is a one-use only, gives her a greatly improved recharge rate, and makes it her impossible to miscast, which is awesome if you want to get off a powerful spell. And then she has the Star of Avalorn, which is a small little buff, or well, it's a small radius, but it's a very powerful heal ability. It's basically a free, like, AoE regrowth. Then she's got the Handmaiden of the Everqueen, which is the new hero type, who is incredibly powerful. She has a very nice mix of abilities. The immune to psychology, of course, is coming from Allarielle, but she has some very powerful items, both of which are really good. She has the Enchanted Spyglass, which gives plus 10% missile damage, and then the Horn of Aisha, which is plus 5 reload skill and plus 5 melee attack, which combined are horrifyingly efficient on top of her kind of commander ability of plus an additional 10 reload skill. So this lady makes Sisters of Avalorn especially just incredibly powerful. But let's get this fight started, this kind of goofy showdown here. So first, the Dryads do wander into the forest and spot my cavalry contingent, who run over here and are just going to start absolutely feasting on these forest spirits. They may be good at fighting in the forest, but that's just a lot of crap. And you may be wondering, the reason why I brought the Doomdiver Catapult and so much cav is because these Sisters of Avalorn are an absolute terror in the night. They do so much damage and are just an absolute nightmare to fight. And I actually get kind of lucky this battle because Allarielle the Radiant, having the magic combo that she does have the ability to bring, like right now she has False Protection, Banishment, and Earthblood. Well, she has the ability to bring Arcane Unforging and Tempest from the Lord of High Magic. So if you take a Flying Lord and Allarielle shows up with those spells, she can basically just delete them off the map. So you do want to be kind of careful when taking Flying Lords against High Elves, especially with that. So anyway, so the battle begins here. My infantry line is running in. You see the spears down here are trying to cause some havoc. The Black Orcs are surging into all the different forest spirits. I've got the Doomdiver back here, which you may be wondering, wow, those Sisters of Avalorn are, which, look at the effect when those arrows hit. They're basically shooting like particles of light that just do these cool explosions when they hit. Because of this hill, I couldn't see his army until just now, and he couldn't see me either. So we basically were able to suddenly see each other, and my poor Doomdiver Catapult was in range of the Everqueen Court Guard, who just start firing away at them. And of course, I'm firing counter battery, trying to get rid of these ladies, you know, firing goblins into the air, who do an excellent job of absolutely mangling these girls, if they hit. We do get a nice little group of fanatics here who come into these Phoenix Guard. Let's see if we can catch their, yeah, see, when they die, they explode into flames, which is so cool looking. There's buffs all over the place. Allarielle has ridden into the fight herself, and if we catch some slow-mo cinematic action here, the way she attacks is she does this really cool, you can see there's some greenskin powers going off. I believe that's the Fist of Gork spell, but she's got all sorts of butterflies around her and stuff. But when she does attack, which it seems Janet's trying to pull her out of the fight, so she's probably not going to attack for a moment. We'll come back to her. Whoops. I've got so Soulblight's gone down here from WAAAGH. He's trying to throw down all sorts of buffs. I've got Fist of Gork giving me magic damage to let me cut through those tree spirits and Keepers of the Flame if they get too close. Banishment goes down over here, absolutely tearing these guys apart. And you see I get my Orc Shaman in here to try and kill Allarielle the Radiant. But you'll notice that her melee defense is at 67 when she has Martial Prowess active. And even when she doesn't have it, her melee defense is still incredibly high. Here, the Orc Shaman, you see I've got WAAAGH going off, which causes this really cool, like, flame effect on all the Greenskin army, which is very cool. And I'm basically doing anything I can to try and take these Everqueen Guard offline, both to get rid of their shooting and to stop them from giving that power recharge. Here, Allarielle is actually going to get gooned a bit by WAAAGH, who's going to fly down here. You see Allarielle basically fights like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, where she just unleashes these brilliant flashes of light. She basically shoots just pure light magic at you. And she's actually surprisingly efficient in combat thanks to her high melee attack and significant AoE. But WAAAGH is no slouch, and being on Skull Muncha, he's starting to absolutely tear her apart. This is a great matchup for him, so long as doesn't have Tempest. Here you see Earthblood going off when she's trying to get off some Earth magic. And in a little bit, you see the Tree Man, unfortunately, is being taken out by all of the archers and the Rusty Arrows who nerf his armor down to 70. And unfortunately, he falls to fight no more. So here, it seems like things are going incredibly well in my favor. I do pull out WAAAGH to get away from the Handmaiden of the Everqueen, because she has not only very, very cool attack animations, but she has that spear, which makes her have a pretty nice anti-large bonus. She doesn't have significant armor piercing, but she can still mess up WAAAGH in a good fight. And you notice she kind of hops all over the place. So we'll just kind of grab some good action here of some of the high elves fighting against the orcs. And you'll notice whenever a Phoenix Guard dies, which is not going to happen often, obviously, because they're unleashing things, but you see those explosions of flame when my Black Orcs do manage to kill one, which does significant damage to the attacking unit. So killing these guys can actually come back to hurt you if you're not careful. But with their high physical resist and armor, they're going to have no problem holding off and kind of beating up on my Black Orcs. And I'm trying to find a good way to deal with them. Faw's Protection goes down on them, making them even tankier, while up here my Goblins are trying to get work done. WAAAGH does dive into these ladies and give a really nasty kind of side charge. He turns here on the Handmaiden and is deciding he's had none of this. These girls get terrified and start running off the battlefield. I'm trying to get rid of them once again, just so I can get rid of that Winds of Magic, because that's so nasty. My Pig Lord here has rallied, and I feel pretty good about this fight so far. The Doom Diver is back online, and I'm firing all sorts of stuff into the High Elves, trying to break them, but that Keepers of the Flame unit just isn't going anywhere. The Treekin, who have been fighting my poor Da'Ave Peak loonies, have taken basically no damage. The Doom Divers are firing at the Sisters of Avalon, or the Everqueen's Court Guards, who I'm chasing off with the Orc Shaman to make sure they don't come back. The Handmaiden is trying to kill the Orc Shaman and basically make him panic by sniping him with these shots, which she's very efficient at sniping. But WAAAGH dives in on Skull Muncha and does a pretty good chunk of damage, and basically is just telling her, yeah, no, you're not shooting anymore. So she starts kind of heading towards the safety of the Keepers of the Flame. Meanwhile, Allarielle's out here dueling the Goblin Big Boss, who will be able to beat her if the fight goes on long enough, but thanks to her high melee defense and having Faw's Protection making her even more ridiculous, it's going to take a very long time. Thankfully, he does have poison, though, to keep him up. Here, I get off another wall, and here is the Star of Avalon, which if I hover over these guys, look at that healing. They're just ramping up, and that doesn't cost her any Winds of Magic, and it's a nice big AoE. So all these guys are healing incredibly, which is going to allow them to easily win this fight. I do manage to start kind of gooning out Allarielle the Radiant, thanks to the Goblin Big Boss and WAAAGH, which with the addition of the WAAAGH power have very significant melee attack. And WAAAGH's just going to come right up here and just chomp on her. And I think this is where Allarielle falls. Which the last game we fought before this, I got absolutely wrecked by this list. Oh, yep, she just gets chomped right off her horse. And her horse is like, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. So at this point, you'd think that it would be a very easy victory by this point, because Allarielle is dead. But these Keepers of the Flame are very, very tanky. And they've still got the Handmaiden helping them out. And every time one of them dies, they do that nasty explosion. Which is a gorgeous effect. You can just see them kind of bursting into flames over there. And you'll notice they start popping considerably faster when they're having little issues like that. But they're wrecking my guys. So over here, I do bring WAAAGH down for the heavy armor piercing and poison he has to try and get rid of these stupid Treekin and just break them. But the Doom Divers are, of course, doing some explosions of their own, and you can see with each one, a couple of the Phoenix Guard go with them. The Big Boss is chasing off some units here. Both my archers were chased off by some spearmen, who they finally managed to kill. The Orc Shaman is hustling back as fast as he can. The Treekin finally break thanks to WAAAGH's involvement, and so the Black Orcs are faced with the Keepers of the Flame, who would probably quite easily beat them in a fight, quite frankly, but they do have the support of the Doom Diver and WAAAGH, who's kind of lightly flying around, and every once in a while you see an explosion. But here comes the big thing. Fists of Gork giving them a massive bonus to their melee attack and melee defense, but more importantly, giving them magic attacks. Pretty sure I just killed way more of my own troops with that Doom Diver volley. And with those magic attacks, you're going to see these Phoenix Guard just popping super fast. There goes down Soul Blight, reducing their armor even further, giving the Black Orcs an even better chance. And basically every time they swing, one of them explodes, which does of course do pretty significant damage to the Black Orcs, but ultimately it just doesn't matter. And with them just getting absolutely torn apart by all that magic damage, they do fall apart and basically shatter very quickly, and with the loss of the Keepers of the Flame, the High Elves suffer army losses. So looking at the final screen, the High Elves did pretty exceptionally good. The Keepers of the Flame got 249 kills, and they weren't fighting slouches either. Like, they did chew through some of my smaller units, but they were just butchering both of those Black Orc units in a fight. The Dryads did fairly well for the most part. You know, they're excellent at tearing apart light units like Orc Boys and Goblins, but these guys were basically just there to hold them in place for long enough for me to hit them with stuff. The Orc Shaman did get a reasonable amount of kills with a Foot of Gork that I unfortunately missed, but it barely did any damage. The Doom Diver did incredibly well. It's actually an excellent pick against the High Elves, and if you can manage to take it, I would actually recommend it. My Cav line did not do great. They tore apart that one Dryad unit, and then they ran to the back line against the Sisters of Avalorn, the Spearmen, and the Keepers of the Flame, and they got absolutely wrecked. The Black Orcs did incredibly well, but they're an excellent unit against High Elves who don't have a lot of armor piercing. And you'll notice this army didn't have a lot of armor piercing either. The Tree Man got absolutely wrecked by the Rusty Arrows and the Night Goblin Archers, and the only other armor piercing was the Everqueen Court Guard, who got taken offline pretty early because I focused them down heavily with the Doom Diver Catapult. My Cav ran in to try and interrupt them, and then WAAAGH went in for the killing blow. WAAAGH did really well, but if she had brought Tempest, that basically would have meant I wouldn't have got to use WAAAGH until she was dead or out of magic, which when you fight Allarielle and they have the Everqueen Court Guard, you're going to learn pretty quickly she just doesn't run out of magic, which for the amount of healing she can put out is horrifying. She's such a cool character that has is very, very fun to play with. I think a lot of people are still kind of figuring her out compared to like Hellebron, who's a lot more... Hellebron's very easy to use, but she is a super fun character, and the changes to the Greenskins are excellent. The new WAAAGH ability, being able to be global, makes taking lords who aren't just in the fray constantly, you know, like an Orc Warboss or a Night Goblin Warboss or a WAAAGH, like, you have a lot more options, I feel, with the new Greenskin Lord. Like, taking a Goblin Great Shaman or WAAAGH flying around on a Wyvern and being more distant from your army is no longer heavily punishing, because you can just run around unleashing that WAAAGH, which is just great. But I hope you guys enjoyed that fight. I really love the color scheme of the new Forest Spirits in Avalorn's army. Of course, you can only take them in multiplayer if you're playing Avalorn, just like you can only take them in single player if you're playing Allarielle. Well, actually, if you capture, I think if you capture her settlement and you're a High Elf faction, you might be able to take them as well. But, you know, Allarielle has them. Actually, you know what? No, I bet they are Allarielle exclusive, just like Archon the Black's units are exclusive. So I hope you guys enjoyed that fight, a little showcase of kind of the new Greenskin fun and some of the new units for the High Elves. I've got one more battle for you guys, which will be releasing the same time as these other two. And yeah, so see you guys on that one as well. Thanks.